We're now going to cover an object's attributes and methods. So the attributes and methods of an object are where a lot of its power resides. That's how you're going to get a lot of use out of your objects. So all objects in Python have attributes and methods. And I like to do this by analogizing again to a real world object so that I think it's easier to understand. And in this case, our real world object will just be a car. So in Python, attributes are typically just single pieces of information. So with a car, that'll be the color, the brand, the year, maybe how many miles have been driven, the height, the weight, the number of seats, the engine size, the diameter of the tire. There's all sorts of attributes, hundreds or thousands of pieces of attributes for a car. These are just single pieces of information that give some description about the object. Now, a method is, methods are actions, some action that your object can take. So for a car, for instance, driving could be considered a method, right? That is an action. Stopping, parking, turning, signaling, going reverse, honking. All of these things are actions that can be initiated by the user of this car object. So I just like to really use a real world object. You can think of a different real world object, and I have this diagram over here which can help out. So here is that like a car object. Down here we can think about as a person as an object as well. But if you take a look at the entire diagram, and at the top, so we just have like, say, a generic object. This is just how all Python objects work. So each object in Python will have some attributes and some methods. So the attributes, again, are those single pieces of information, just a little description. It's usually just one specific value, like, all right, the color is blue. The weight is, 2,000 pounds. Typically they are nouns, like in terms of parts of speech, like, color, size, weight, height, and so forth. The methods, on the other hand, describe an action. They are verbs typically as parts of speech, like driving, parking, stopping, honking. They typically involve multiple lines of code. So you can think about when you drive, it's like multiple instructions. All right, so put the car into drive, put your foot on the gas pedal, have your hands on the steering wheel, and so forth. Whereas an attribute is simpler and just a description. So here in this section, I have like specific objects, like a car object, a person object, or a fishing pole object. We've already discussed a car object, but for like a person, you can break up a person into attributes and methods as well. So say we have this person, they have age of 4, name of Penelope, sex is female, this is the address, this is the height, and so forth. So these are just, basic descriptions about the person. And then the methods that this person can do, eat, sleep, jump, and play. So Python objects are somewhat similar, as we'll see, but I really like to analogize to real world objects so that you can get a feeling for what are attributes and what are methods. And those are, two things that all objects have. Okay, so that's a little introduction into object attributes and methods using a real world example.